We're live. We're live, everybody. What's going on? It's your boy King Gabe here with the Bible reading a bit early. One reason why, because like I said before, we kind of got some things we got to take care of shortly there this afternoon, and also probably like, well, Gabe, you can still probably do it that night after the day over. Yeah, it's a possibility, but then but by doing it now, to go on and have it done, uh kind of also have some time to get some content into the computer so I can start uploading it to you guys there, of course, for the early viewing on Patreon and then to YouTube. So yeah. So like I say, um and it is a and it is convenient to have this done first too. So yep. So we're going to be in Judges 6. We're gonna go on right into it there. So we can try to we can really get through Gideon's story today. Yeah, after apparently Midian is oppressing Israel, so they're calling for Gideon. There, it looks like Gideon got quite a story here. Let's see, right up to I want to say let's see how what we got on Gideon there. That way, we won't have no cliffhanger just like I did in another little video I was making earlier there. So let's see, gonna go up to yep. Looks like no, I think that's okay. I think I skipped a page here. Okay, right here. Gideon's Epon. So okay, right up to 8 there. So all right. So gonna go with Gideon. Chapter 6, the Judges. Excuse me. Hmm. The people of Israel did what was evil in the sight of the Lord, and the Lord gave them into the hand of Midian for 7 years. The hand of Midian overpowered Israel because of the Midian, and because of Midian, the people of Israel uh, made for themselves the dens that are in the mountains and the caves and the strongholds. For whenever the Israelites planted crops, the Midianites and Amalekites, the people of the east, would come against them. They would encamp against them and devour the produce of the land as far as Gaza, and leave no substance in Israel, no sheep, no ox or donkey, for they would come up with their livestock in their tents. They would come like locusts in number, both they and excuse me, both they and their camels would not be counted, so that they lay waste the land as they came in, and Israel was brought very low because of Midian. And the people of Israel cried out for help to the Lord, and crying out again. Mm. They disobey, and then, oh, help, 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 Lord, help, Lord. When the people of Israel cried out to the Lord on account of the Midianites, the Lord sent the prophet to the people of Israel and said to them, thus says the Lord God of Israel, I led you up out of Egypt, brought you out of the house of slavery, and delivered you from the hand of the Egyptians, from the hand of those who oppressed you, and drove them out before you, and gave you their land. And I said to you, I am the Lord your God. You shall not fear the gods of the Amorites in the land you dwell, but you have not obeyed my voice. Call it Gideon. Here we go. Now, the angel of the Lord came and sat under the terebinth of Ophrah. I didn't mean to say it like that. It's Ophrah. Ophrah. Almost kind of sounds like I'm saying Ophrah a little bit there. Which belonged to Joash the Abazite, the Abrazarite, while his son Gideon was beating out wheat in the winepress to hide it from the Midianites. And the angel of the Lord appeared to him and said to him, the Lord is with you, O mighty man of valor. And Gideon said to him, please, sir, if the Lord is with us, then why then has all this happened? Where are all these wonderful deeds that our fathers recounted to us, saying, did not the Lord bring us up out of Egypt? But now the Lord has forsaken us and given us into the hands of Midian. The Lord turned to him and said, go in this might of yours and save Israel from the hand of Midian. Do not I send you? And he said to him, please, Lord, how can I save Israel? Behold, my clan is the weakest in Manasseh, and I am the least in my father's house. Well, they may see yourself as the least, but Lord has a way of bringing up that underdog. Hey, I mean, think about like Jesus' disciples, and that will be coming up in the New Testament. They're not exactly the one, the highest of the society, basically fishermen, and yet Jesus came to them, made them the 12 apostles, and next thing you know, went out and preached the word of the gospel, especially Peter. Yeah. So, yeah, at least in my father's house. But the Lord said to him, but I will be with you, and you shall strike the Midianites as one man. He said to him, if I have found favor in your eyes, then show me a sign that it is you who speaks with me. Please do not depart from here until I come to you and bring out my present and set it before you. And he said, I will stay until you return. So Gideon went into his house and prepared a young goat and unleavened cakes from a ephah of flour. The meat he put in the basket, and the broth he put in the pot, and said to him, take the meat of unleavened cakes and put them on this rock and pour them over the broth. He did so, and the angel of the Lord reached out the tip of his staff that was in his hand and touched the meat of the unleavened cakes, and the fire sprang up from the rock and consumed the meat and the unleavened cakes, and the angel of the Lord vanished from his sight. And Gideon perceived that he was the angel of the Lord. Gideon said, Avast, O Lord God, I have now seen the angel of the Lord face to face. But the Lord said to him, peace be with you, do not fear, you shall not die. Then Gideon built the altar there to the Lord and called it, the Lord is peace. To this day it stands at Ophrah, which belongs to the Abzarites. That night the Lord said to him, take your father's bull and a second bull 7 years old, and pull down the altar of Baal that your father has, and cut down the Asherah that is beside it. And say, hey, what's going on, Janara? Say, and Billy, what's up? I'm glad y'all could make it there. Say, read about old Gideon having to come to Israel's rescue there. Last Bible reading, Deborah was in charge of things. Now Gideon's having to pretty much come to the rescue now. Yeah. So, build the altar of the Lord to your God on the top of the stronghold here with the stones. Lay in due order, then take the second bull as a burnt offering with the wood of Asher, and you shall cut it down. Gideon took 10 men of his servants, did as the Lord told him, because he was afraid of his family and the men of the town to do it by day, so he did it by night. See? Yep. And so we do have times when we be needing some rescuing there. Yeah, you got that right. Gideon destroys the altar of Baal. So when the men of the town rose early in the morning, behold, the altar of Baal was broken down. Asher beside it was cut down. The second bull was offered on the altar that had been built. And see, Yep. Yep, and God, he worked, and that's the thing. He works through people, like he's done ever since the beginning in the Exodus. He worked through. He had Moses go down and say, "Let my people go." So then we had Moses led them for so long. Then we had Joshua. Now we're in these judges there. Yep. And his son Jesus Christ is our Savior. Yes, indeed. We were just talking about him at my church. Me, Christina, and Casey go to about say Jesus in the wilderness after he had just got baptized by John the Baptist. There. Yep. So yes, indeed, they get ready for Easter down at the church there. Yep. And they said to one another, "Who has done this thing?" And after they searched and inquired, they said, "Gideon, the son of Joash, has done this thing." The men said to Joash, "Bring out your son that he may die, for he has broken down the altar of Baal and cut down Asherah beside it." But Joash said to all who stood against them, "Will you contend for Baal, or will you save him? Whoever contends for him shall be put to death death in the morning." And oh, really? Okay. Yep. I do like Easter. I think my favorite holiday probably kind of obvious would be Christmas, of course. Uh, yeah, with the birth of Jesus there. But I do like Easter. Don't get me wrong. That resurrection and all that. So, yep. So, they and also a little thing to share. I actually looked up because I was wondering what did this like the statue of Baal, the idol guy, what did he look like? The description from that describes him as like a warrior with lightning and thunder and stuff like that. Apparently, the people that worship Baal, they worshipped him for fertility and stuff like that. He was probably like a powerful warrior, and some of the images that popped up of him had like statues of him with a sort of like a bull head or something like that. Almost kind of made me think of the golden calf in the Ten Commandments when they that Israel built and they was all like, "Oh, let's worship the golden calf." And Moses came down there and said, "Those who do not live by the law shall die by the law," and threw the tablets right at the golden calf. Of course, originally in the Bible, he just threw them on the ground. Of course, he had to get new tablets and melted the golden calf. But for the movie, they had him throw it at the golden calf, and it exploded and caused the ground to open up and swallowed up everybody who had turned their back on God. And that part was also another thing that did happen in the Bible, but it was much later when old boy Dathan had people turn against God, and so Moses told the ones, "Okay, those of y'all who still following God, come on out the way, get out the way, get out of the way." And when they cleared the way, ground opened up and swallowed up Dathan and his followers there. So yeah. God don't be playing. Yeah, exactly. Yes, you're definitely right. Yeah, he don't play. Yep. So let him content himself. Therefore, on that day, Gideon was called uh, Jerubbaal. That is to say, let Baal contend against them because he broke down his altar. Now all the Midianites and Amalekites and the people of the east came together. They crossed the Jordan and camped in the valley of Jezreel. But the Spirit of the Lord clothed Gideon, and he sounded the trumpet, and the Amzorite called out to follow him, and he sent messengers throughout all of Manasseh. They called out to follow him. They too were called out to follow him, and he sent messengers to Ashdod, Zebulun, Natala, and they went up to meet him there. And then Gideon said to God, "If you will save Israel by my hand as you have, Behold, I am laying a fleece of wool on the threshing hole. If there is dew on the fleece alone, and it is dry on all the ground, I shall know that you will save Israel by my hand, as you have. And it was so. He rose the next morning and squeezed the fleece. It wrung with dew. They from the fleece to fill a bowl with water. Then Gideon said to God, "Let not your anger burn against me. Let me speak just once more. Let me, please let me test just one more with the fleece, and let it be dry on the fleece only, and all the ground be dew." And God did so that night. And it was dry on the fleece only, and all the ground there was dew. So, yep, yeah, Gideon, yep, God's in the plan. So no need to say, think that proves it to you. In chapter 7, Gideon's 300 men. Then Jerubbaal, that is Gideon, and all the people who were with him rose early and camped beside the spring of Hayrod, in the camp of Midian, north by the hill of Morah in the valley. The Lord said to Gideon, "The people with you are too many for me to give the Midianites into their hand, and say, lest Israel boast over me, saying, my own hand saved me. Now therefore proclaim the ears of the people, saying, whoever is fearful, trembling, let him return home, hurry away from Mount Gilead." Then 22,000 of the people returned, and 10,000 remained. And the Lord said to Gideon, "The people are still too many. Take them down to the water, and I'll test you. And I will test them for you there. And if anyone whom I will say shall go with you, shall go with you. Anyone whom I say to you, this one shall not go, shall not go." He brought the people down to the water, and the Lord said to Gideon, "Let everyone who laps the water with his tongue as a dog laps it, you shall set by himself, likewise the ones who kneel to drink." And the number whose lap putting their hands in their mouth was 300 men. The rest of the people kneeled down to drink the water. And the Lord said to Gideon, with the 300 men who lapped, I will save you and give the Midianites into your hand, and let all the others go, every man to his home. So the people took provisions in their hands with their trumpets, and sent the rest of Israel home, every man to his tent, but retained the 300. And the camp of the Midian was below him in the valley. That same night the Lord said to him, "Arise and go against the camp, for I have given it to your hand. But if you are afraid to go down with to the camp with Parah, your servant, and you shall hear what they say afterward. Your hand shall be strengthened, and go down against the camp." And then when he went with Parah his servant, to the outpost of the armed men who were camped, and the Midianites and the Amalekites and all the people of the east lay along the valley like locusts in abundance, and their camels were without numbers, as the sand that is on the seashore in abundance. Got to freshen that up a little bit. Breath getting a little dry. And their camels were without numbers, as the and their camels were without number as the sand that is on the seashore in abundance. When Gideon came, behold, a man was telling him a dream to his comrade, and he said, "Behold, I dreamed a dream, and behold, a cake of barley bread tumbled into the camp of Midian, and came to the tent, and I struck it so that it fell, and turned it upside down so that the tent lay flat." And his comrade answered, "This is no other than the sword of Gideon, the son of Joash, the man of Israel. God has given into his hand Midian and all the camp." As soon as Gideon heard the telling of the dream of his interpretation, he worshiped and he returned to the camp of Israel. Arise, for the Lord has given the host of Midian into your hand. He divided the 300 men into 3 companies and put trumpets into the hand of them and empty jars with torches inside the jar and said, look at me and do likewise. And when they came to the outskirts of the camp, do as I do. When I blow the trumpet, all who are with me, then blow the trumpets, and on every side of the camp shout, for the Lord and for Gideon. For the Lord and for Gideon. And then we see Gideon defeats Midian. So Gideon and the hundred men who were with him came to the outskirts at the beginning of the middle watch, and when they had set the watch, and they blew the trumpets and smashed the jars that were in their hands, then the 3 companies blew the trumpets and broke the jars. They left in their hands the torches in their right hands and the trumpets to blow, and they cried out, a sword for the Lord, and cried out and fled. Then, when they blew the 300 trumpets, the Lord set every man's sword against his comrade and against all the army. And the army fled as far as Bethshittah toward Zerah, as far as the border of Maholah by Tabah. And the men of Israel were called out from Nepah and from Ashdod and from all of Manasseh, and they pursued after Midian. Gideon sent messengers throughout all the hill countries of Ephraim, saying, come down against the Midianites and capture the waters against them as far as Bethbarah and also the Jordan. So all the men of Ephraim were called out, and they captured the waters as far as Bethbarah and also the Jordan, and they captured the 2 princes, Midian, Obrah, the Oreb, and Zeb, and killed Oreb and the rock of Oreb, and Zeb, and killed the winepress of Zeb. And they pursued Midian and brought the heads of Oreb, Zeb, and Gideon across the Jordan. And then chapter 8, looks like now he's defeating Zebah and Zamunah. When the men of Ephraim said to him, what is this thing you've done to us, not to call us when you fight against Midian? And they accused him fiercely. And he said to him, what have I done now in compassion with you? What I have done now in compassion with you is not the gleaming of grapes of Ephraim better than the grapes of harvest of Ebezer? God has given into you the princes of Midian, Oreb, and Zeb. What I have been able to do in compassion with you, then the anger against him decided when he said this. And Gideon came to the Jordan and crossed over. He and 300 men were with him, exhausted, yet pursuing. And he said to the men at Sukkah, give us the loaves of bread to the peoples who follow me, for they are exhausted. I am pursuing after Zebah and Zamunah and the kings of Midian. And the officials of Sukkah said, are the hands of Zebah and Zamunah already in your hand, that we should give bread to your army? So Gideon said, well then, the Lord has given Zebah and Zamunah into my hand. I will fail your flesh with the thorns of the wilderness and with briars. And from there he went up to Penuel and spoke to them in the same way. And the men of Penuel answered him as the men of Sukkah had answered. And he said to the men of Penuel, when I come again in peace, I will break down this tower. Now Zebah and Zamunah were in Zakah with their army, about 1,500 men, all who left of all the army of the people of East, who had fallen 120,000 men. That's a lot of them. They and then Oh, wait, that went down too far. Okay. Zeba. Okay, wait. Handsome army was given. I think my eyes kind of jumped down a little bit. Okay, when Ziba and Zamula were in Kakar with their army, about 15,000 men, who were left in all the army of the people of the east, who were fallen, 120,000 men who drew the sword, and Gideon went up by the way of the tent, dwellers of the east, and of Nobah and Jacobah, and attacked the army. And for the army fell secure, and Ziba and Zamunah fled as he pursued them and captured the two kings of Midian, Zebah, and Zamunah. And he threw all the army into a panic. Then Gideon then Gideon, the son of Joash, returned from the battle by the ascent of Heres, Heres, and captured a young man of Sakar and questioned him, writing down the officers and elders of Sakar, 77 men. And he came to the men of Sakar and said, Behold, Ziba and Zamunah, about whom you taunted me, saying, There are their hands of Ziba, Zamunah already in your hands, that we should give bread to your men who are exhausted. He took the elders of the city and took the thorns of the wilderness and briars and with them taught the men of Sakar a lesson, broke down the tower of Pinnah, and killed the men of the city. Then he said to Zabah and Zamunah, Where are the men whom you killed at Tabah? They answered, As you are, so were they. Every one of them resembled the king, the son of the king. And he said, They were my brothers, the sons of my mother. As the Lord lives, if you had saved them alive, I would not kill you. So he said to Jephthah at his firstborn, Rise and kill them. But the young man did not draw his sword, for he was afraid, because he was still a young man. Then Ziba and Zamunah said, Rise yourself and fall upon us, for as a man is, so is his strength. And Gideon rose and killed Ziba and Zamunah. And he took the crescent ornaments that were on the necks of their camels. Then the men of Israel said to Gideon, Rule over us and your son, you and your son and your grandson, for you have saved us from the hands of Midian. Gideon said, I will not rule over you, and my son will not rule over you. The Lord will rule over you. Gideon said to them, Let me make a request of you. Every one of you give me the earrings of his spoil, and for they had golden earrings, because they were Ishmaelites. They answered, We will willingly give them. They spread a cloak, every man threw his earrings in the spoil, the weight of the golden earrings. Make sure I don't skip no page here. Come on. There we go. Okay. The weight was requested was 1,700 shekels of gold, besides the crescent ornaments, the pendants of the purple garments worn by the king of Midian, and besides the collars that were around the necks of the camels. Gideon made an ephod of it and put it in his city in Ophrah, and all of Israel whored after there, and became a snare to Gideon and his family. Midian was subdued before the people of Israel, and they raised their heads no more, and the land had rest for 40 years in the days of Gideon. And Jerubbaal, the son of Joash, who went and lived in his house. Now Gideon had 70 sons, his own offspring for he had many wives, and his concubine, there's a little woman on the side there, who was in Shechem, who also bore him a son, and he called his name Abimelech. And Gideon, the son of Joash, died in a good old age and was buried in the tomb of Joash, his father, at Ophrah and of the Abiezrites. As soon as Gideon died, the people of Israel turned again and whored after the Baals and made Baal River their god. And the people of Israel did not remember the Lord their God, who had delivered them from the hands of enemies on every side, and did not show steadfast love for the family of Jeroboam in return for all the good he had done to Israel. Just can't seem to get them away from this Baal. Just don't get it. Yeah. Yep. That concludes Gideon's story, and yeah, looks like they're gonna need a little bit more than Gideon to get them through this get through these chapters of Judges. Just kind of looking ahead, see what's to come. So we've read. So yeah, like I say, next time we'll be starting with chapter 9, and just a heads up, chapter 13. Be a little while before we get there. Will be the birth of Samson. Yes, and we all know about Samson, the Book of Judges. Especially the story Samson and Delilah. Yeah, he was pretty much the Bible Superman. This was Superman before Superman, though. Yep. Only thing was he didn't fly though. Yep. So that's it for this one, concluding Gideon's story. Appreciate y'all coming in and everything. So definitely like, share, and subscribe. Definitely get our available books and support us on the Patreon, just like Iceman Universe does. Also support the Miracle Crew. Yours truly, King Gabe, Queen Tina, Big Sis Casey, Janara Nelson, and also EJ the Supreme. And don't forget and that's like you hang out with us in the live streams. Also hang out with us in Discord or on Facebook. And we can tell you some stuff on the McCary app. And with all that said, we'll see y'all in the next video or live stream. So until then, y'all take care, everybody. Have to see what Israel be doing next time.